Beep beep. What is up, guys? My name is Sam World and I make sound design and music production videos for dance music here on YouTube. Now in today's video, I'm going to teach you guys how to execute the clone, the Acraze, the meta tech house bassline that's very popular at the moment, which I just call them knocks or badonks. And we're going to get straight into this. Now, the first way that you can create these is going to be to utilize Tom and then process it. Now, if you're in Ableton, you can easily go and grab the 808 Tom, which is going to be probably the friendlier out of the bunch. We're going to the drums. We'll grab the Tom 808 low. We're going to drop that into a MIDI channel, which will create a simpler for us. And from there, we really have to find the key that this Tom is in. So all we're going to do is play it of sorts. And then what we're going to do is run either a tuner or an EQ. If the tuner works, then great, we can use that. So you can kind of see there's a bit too much of change in that going on. So we're just going to go with an EQ8 and try and get it. So as we hit that C, you can see it's in G. So all we have to really do is put the semitones or the transposition up by 5 to be in the key of C. And now any note I play should be good to go. I'm hitting a G. I'm hitting an A. Now I'm in A. Okay, so this is going to be pretty much the stock sound that we're going to use. From there, let's just program something very basic. You can see here, like, there's like a bit of a click, and usually what happens is whenever you have a change that occurs really fast, that is what usually causes clicks in any sort of sound. So it could be that the sample needs a little bit of a fade and whatnot. So we're going to add a bit of a tech to remove that. Perfect. Now from there, this is where you can start to process it to just give it a little bit more cojones. That means more balls in my language. And what we're going to do is just saturate it a bit. So just give it a bit. So as you can hear, this has a very distinct sound. Reminds me a little bit of Dirty Bird stuff, but that's the sound that you create with an 808 Tom. Now, again, you can distort and try different sorts of distortion to give it more character, different vibe. But what I like to do personally is just find other toms that have a good amount of low end that I can use and then do the same technique. For instance, I'm going to grab another one here and we're going to get something a little bit different. From here, it's sounding a little bit too, like it has too much sustain or release. That means that it lasts a little too long, but we want it a lot more tighter. So we're going to decrease the sustain, a bit of decay. Now you can see as we do that, we do lose a little bit of the top note where it goes doom, but that's a little trade-off that we can have there. But now if we kind of program something in, we can kind of create some very driven sort of knocks. Finally, guys, the last thing I'll add is that you can also utilize 808 kicks. Now, I feel this is one of the more popular alternatives compared to the 808 Tom. And from there, again, if you want to get creative or you want to try other cool stuff, you can definitely use toms from different packs with a lot of top end. But the reason the 808 kick and the 808 Tom are used a lot, in my opinion, is just that they're very friendly, so you can manipulate them fairly well. For instance, here, we're going to use the 808 kick, which we can find in the drum section inside of Ableton, and use kick 808 1. From there, again, just find the key that it's in, utilizing the same technique. And finally, guys, the last way to execute these kind of knock bass lines is to utilize a synth for them. Now, majority of the time, you want to be utilizing sine bass sort of wavetables. So you can definitely go with the basic shapes or any sort of sine, FM, etc. But the sine is going to be probably the friendlier of the bunch and the most easiest to execute, just in case you don't have enough low end and whatnot. So what we're going to do is use envelope 3, route it to our coarse pitch to give this sound a bit of the that knock that we want. Envelope 1 is routed to the amp usually, which is where you're going to control dynamic. So you can kind of execute how long you want it. Usually I recommend having this a little higher just in case you want to do the Clish Lorenzo route of California Dreaming, which his new track, where he has sort of the, and then there's a bit of a sustain to the bass, the second hit, do, 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 do. Then you can execute that like so, where the MIDI of the track is going to be short on that hit. And then the next one can be allowed to sort of let go. And if you want that to linger a bit more, like an 808 bass, we're going to mono legato it and add a bit of release. If I play this, it lingers. And that's the cool thing about it. And then from there, you just process however you want. Usually just distortion is good enough. Post filter to get rid of the top end if you don't like it. Maybe filter a bit more. Now from there, we can control also the tone of the knock if we want it higher pitch or if we want it lower. All right, guys, and those are going to be the two ways that you can create knock bass lines. Again, you can either sample it or synthesize it. Pick your poison and have fun making these kind of tracks. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time for another video. You take care and much love. Peace out.